Hello, and you're very welcome to the Shannon College of Hotel Management TY Taster Day. You're very welcome. We have a jam-packed schedule for you today. We are going to tell you lots about the hotel industry, the hospitality industry, what's involved in the programs here in Shannon. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Miss Kate O'Connell. Kate O'Connell is a lecturer in international human resource management and hotel asset management at Shannon College, and she's going to talk to you today about the global hospitality industry and what it has to offer to you. So I'll hand over to you, Kate.
Thank you, Sarah, and good morning to all you TY students out there all over the country. You are most welcome to the TY Introduction to Shannon College of Hotel Management, this world-renowned college that celebrates its 70th year, the 70th birthday this year. 45 years ago, I was sitting where you are today. In my school in Sculpole, Kilfinnan, County Limerick. So I hope there is some students from Sculpole sitting and listening to this presentation today. And I say hello to you and to all of your teachers. So 45 years ago, I was thinking of studying history and accounting in UCC as I was preparing for my leaving cert. And that was my plan. Then one day a presentation was given at the school from a representative of Shannon College of Hotel Management who went through all about the program and the course and the careers, and he mentioned one magic word which said you would spend your second year of your 4-year degree course in Geneva. Now, bearing in mind, I was a farmer's daughter from a very small village in South Limerick called Patrick. Spending a year in Patrick or a year in Geneva, there was really no option for me. So I instantly changed my mind and decided I would apply for Shannon College of Hotel Management, which luckily I was accepted to, and there began the most brilliant and fantastic career that I've had to date. So I joined Shannon. I spent my first year here in the college, and then my second year I got on a flight to Geneva with a lot of other students who are to this day my lifelong friends. Upon graduating, I went to the UK, where I worked all over the UK in various hotels, worked in Scotland, and ended up at South Bank University. During that time, I also worked in the Netherlands, mainly in Amsterdam. I worked in Greece, in Athens, in Hong Kong, and in 2000, I returned to Shannon College as Deputy Director and Registrar, where I have stayed to this day. I want to talk to you about the career you can have in what is an enormous business. So the travel and tourism hospitality contribution to employment worldwide is massive. By 2020, the World Tourism Organization expects that there will be 1.8 billion international tourists traveling worldwide. 1 in 10 jobs, this is 9.9% of all global employment, will be in the travel and tourism hospitality area. 1/5 of all global jobs created in the last decade have been within the travel and tourism sector. So as you can see, it is ever growing, ever diverse, and really large. I want to give you an example of some of the largest hotel chains in the world. So just give you a little taster of what is out there for you. So Wyndham Hotels, which is worldwide is the biggest hotel chain in the world with 9,000 hotels in 80 different countries with 20 brands. Intercontinental Hotel Group has got 5,900 hotels in 100 countries with 16 brands, and there's over 1,900 hotels under development at the moment, and those hotels are under development right across the world in various locations, but particularly in Asia and in developing countries. Hilton worldwide, there are 6,300 hotels and resorts in 118 countries with 18 brands. Marriott International, there are 7,200 properties in over 130 countries with 30 brands. And indeed, the Vice President for Finance for Marriott for Europe, the Middle East and Africa, Joanna Chu, is a graduate of Shannon. And she would have sat during her transition year thinking about what she would like to do. This morning, I was on a Zoom call to our alumni worldwide. We have a very, very active student graduate alumni where we keep in contact with all the graduates. And this morning we were on a Zoom call to one of our graduates in Singapore, one in Malta, one in Bali, one in Kilkenny, in Stockholm, in London and Cork. So you can see it is worldwide and we keep very much in contact. I want to share with you specifically one particular hotel group, which will just put it into context for you. And this is Accor, which is based in Paris. And it is, again, a very large hotel network of 5,100 hotels, 748,000 rooms. So that's a lot of employees are needed in 110 countries. 51 brands, of which 39 hospitality brands from luxury to economy brand, and have 300,000 employees. Of those employees, 54% of the employees are under 35. 43% of our employees are female. So you can see out there today that there is lots of opportunities in this one company alone. At the moment, there are 37,000 job offers on the Accor Global Recruitment website. They've got 5 regional campuses and with 900 trainers, which means that you will be trained and for lifelong learning, which is so important. They work with 150 schools and universities worldwide, and I am delighted to say that the Shannon College of Hotel Management is a partner with Accor Group. The other area that is coming into great interest at this moment is the whole area of the golden age of space travel. By 2027, the Voyager station, an ambitious space hotel project, will be open. So as you can see for your future, it is very bright, very diverse, very multicultural, and you can make it what you want. So your future, you will never be without a job. You can travel the world. You can have fun. This is a great fun industry. Yes, we work hard, but we play hard. And it gives opportunities to grow both professionally and personally. And the only way to do this is by joining the Shannon family. The fact that I have joined 45 years ago, I am still very involved with all of my classmates and all of the alumni of which we are here and always part and always to help. So your future, as you will transition your students, is really bright. Look for the future. This pandemic will end. People want to travel. That will never ever change. And they need really good people like you. We want really good graduates from the Shannon College of Hotel Management. So today, I ask you to join the Shannon family. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate. Great to hear all about those amazing opportunities that are available all over the world. So next, I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Andrew Langford. And Andrew Langford works as a lecturer in food and beverage studies in Shannon College of Hotel Management. Andrew is actually the Irish expert for restaurant service for WorldSkills Ireland. And he is the Chief Examiner for Ireland Skills. His main interests are in wine and spirits studies, and he's the practical lecturer in restaurant service as well. Andrew is a certified sommelier, so he's an expert in wine, and he is also studying a diploma in wine and spirits studies at the moment. Prior to his career in education, Andrew has he spent time working as food and beverage manager in a number of different 5-star hotels in Chicago, London, and Scotland. So I'm delighted to hand you over to Andrew now, who's going to do a little bit of a demonstration for you. So I hope you enjoy it.
Thanks a million, Sarah, there for that introduction. I don't know. Wow, I sort of listened to you going on. I'm wondering, is it me you're talking about? But thank you very much, and welcome to all the TY students that are out there. Really sorry you can't be here because we have some great fun when you do come on campus. And you're just listening to Kate O'Connell, and I too am a graduate of Shannon, so I'm really passionate about the college, and it's such a fantastic place to go. So as Sarah said, I am the food and beverage lecturer. Here in Shannon. A lot of my time is spent teaching beverage studies and wine, so wine and spirits and all the sort of related knowledge that goes with that. But I do spend a lot of my time in the restaurant as well, teaching students like yourselves when you come into first year, the basic skills of working in a restaurant. And we've been very lucky this semester to be able, or this year, to be here on campus with all our students in the restaurant, learning the basic skills. So from the very beginning, when you come into Shannon, no matter what your skill level is, we teach you from the very basics, and then we try and teach you some advanced skills. And one of those skills is something I'm going to demonstrate to you in a few moments' time. But there's lots of different facets to working in, I suppose, the food and beverage industry. And I suppose all of you at some stage will have had some experience of food and beverage, whether that's going into your local takeaway to get a takeaway, or maybe dining out in some lovely restaurants to experience the hospitality industry that Ireland offers. And that's what we teach here in Shannon. So we try and teach you to work in an industry that's very dynamic, and give you the opportunity once you graduate to take on any challenge. And lots of our graduates are working in many different industries within hospitality, from food and beverage, from owning and managing coffee shops, right up to being general managers of some of the top 5-star hotels that Ms. Kate O'Connell was just talking about with you all. So it is such a fantastic opportunity. So back to the restaurant. What do we teach you when you are here in Shannon? So right down to basics, as I said. So one of the most important things about working in a restaurant is attention to detail. So being able to see some of those basic details that happen in restaurants. So setting tables. But it doesn't start with setting tables. It all starts before that with what we call preparation and mise en place. So polishing, cleaning, everything that you see in front of you as a guest needs to be polished and cleaned. And that's the responsibility of the waiter. So it's very important for the waiter to get that experience of knowing how to polish, how to clean, and how to set up your table. So when you go into a restaurant and you see that table set, There's a lot of work that has gone into that, and that's a huge amount of our training goes into the actual operation and working to a restaurant, how to get it set up, how to get it in operation, and then how to work in it without even any guests in there. And then obviously the most fun part is when you have the guests and being able to be able to interact with those guests and to enjoy sort of their company and have them enjoy your company. And all that comes down to service. Now, I suppose back to what I'm going to do today. This is what we call Geridon service. So it's an enhanced form of table service. So it's probably something you haven't seen before. It's very, very traditional. So if you went back maybe 60, 70 years, this would have been happening in quite a number of different restaurants around the country. Still very popular in the continent of Europe. And in some very top-class five-star hotels will still be offering it. So basic service would be the way you normally see. You see food coming out on plates, the kitchen prepare it, they plate it up, and then the waiter drops it down or serves it to the guests at the table. But what Geridon service does, it brings that responsibility of looking after the guests and preparing food to the actual waiter. So it's the waiter who's in front of the guests. So like me now, I'm in front of you with my table set up, ready to prepare some food. And what I'm preparing for you today is a dish called Steak Diane. So Steak Diane, a very traditional Flambé dish. So Flambé means to flame. So we'll have fire. Hopefully, I'm going to look around. I don't see the fire alarm's quite high above me, so I hope I don't have to evacuate halfway through this. But this is one of the sort of more traditional Geridon dishes that stems from probably the 1930s. It's not maybe the most classic. A lot of the more classic ones are dessert dishes like crêpe Suzette, where you cook pancakes in an orange sauce and you flame it with brandy, or any other fruit for that matter. So peaches, pears, bananas even can be cooked and flambéed. But we're focusing on today is crêpe Suzette, or not crêpe Suzette, sorry, Steak Diane. So what we are going to do here is we've got all our equipment. So when we say this is sort of a high class type of service, you have very good equipment. So here we have a pan. So this has been used once to make a flambé. So you can see it's already stained. So the preparation that goes in is making sure your pans are clean and prepared and fresh. This is nicely polished. Here we've got a very basic camping stove, really. So you don't need, really expensive equipment to do this. This is just a camping stove. You can pick it up in your local camping shop. We do have other specialized equipment that we use at other times that's much more expensive, much more elaborate, silver and everything like that. And then we've got our ingredients. So it's very important when you're preparing food in front of your customers that you have all your ingredients with you, because you can't just wander off into the kitchen to collect it. So all this food was prepared lovingly by our kitchen staff here in Shannon, our culinary team, and we'll be seeing those a little bit later. But we start off here. We've got a lovely strip loin steak or sirloin steak here, and then we're going to marinate or coat that with the mustard. So Steak Diane is almost a steak cooked with onions and mushrooms with a mustard cream sauce. So that's what we're going to do. Right now. So the first thing I'm going to do is light my pan. So once I get my pan lighting so it's nice and hot, we're going to add some oil and butter to that. So our oil and butter are just going to work together. And we're going to pop those into our pan over here. We're going to add a little bit of oil in there as well. And we're going to let that melt there and warm up in the pan. So while that's going on, we're just going to take our Dijon mustard, so a little bit of Dijon mustard here, and we're going to place it over our steak. So a nice big teaspoon of it. And all I'm doing here, as you can see, is placing the mustard all over the steak, quite a lot of mustard. And I'm going to flip it over and do the same on the other side. So lots of mustard on there. So if you're not a fan of mustard, maybe not the best meal to take. So that's our steak. So it's going to stay there. So our pan is heated up quite nicely here. Now our butter is nice and our butter and oil is nice and warm. I'm just going to sanitize my hands there after going near our steak. And we're going to add in our onions and mushrooms. So we're going to start off with some onions. So again, nicely chopped onions. So when these cook, they'll come nice, a little bit nice and sweet. We pop those into our pan, and then some sliced mushrooms in here as well. So they're just going in to our pan. So again, when you're doing this in a restaurant, you'd be talking to your guests and interacting with them and telling them what you're doing, but also talking to them about what they're doing if they're in a holiday destination, maybe asking them how they're getting on or where they're from, or are they enjoying their time on their holidays, or even suggesting maybe what they might do tomorrow when they're out and about in their destination. So now we're just going to warm those through. And again, we're sort of rolling them around the pan. So if we just get them nice and soft, so it's actually quite a fast dish to prepare. And all we're looking to do here is get them nice and nicely cooked. And they'll keep cooking now while we're going to be cooking our steak as well. The tasks like these are ones, so Sarah mentioned there that I'm involved with World Skills and Ireland Skills. So skills like this are tested at World Skills and Ireland Skills every 4 years, or every 2 years. We have competitions, but every year we have national competitions. And back in 2016 or 2017, one of our students here represented Ireland in restaurant service and came back with the gold medal in Brazil. 2 years ago, Rory Grealish, another graduate of ours, came 4th. And before that, another student from Ireland went off and represented us and came 10th in the world. So we've got a very good record in the restaurant area for offering great skills. So now our mushrooms and onions are cooking away there nicely. We're going to add our steak in. So our steak is going in here into the pan. So it's searing away quite nicely. So it's going to cook very quickly. The steak is quite thin. So we're just going to flip this over and cook it on the other side. Of course, a little bit of seasoning, salt and pepper in there. And now is when we get to do our flame. So this is all the good fun part of this. So we're flaming it with a little bit of cognac, so brandy, a spirit from France. So we're going to pop this into the pan. And hopefully, we'll get a nice big flame here when we come back. There we have a lovely flame. So we're burning off the alcohol here. So we're getting the lovely flavors coming through. You can smell it here from the brandy. But we're burning off the alcohol because we don't want to taste that alcohol when we're eating and enjoying this dish. So that's just going to continue to cook away. Our onions and mushrooms are softening up nicely now. Our steak is looking delicious. Feel a little bit like I'm on telly, like a celebrity chef here, trying to get this done. So now we're going to pop in our cream. So again, not a dish for someone who's on a diet where cream isn't allowed. We've got 6 lovely tablespoons or so, if I have here, of cream going in. So we need lots of lovely sauce. So this is going to deglaze the pan. We're going to get lovely, the juices all from the bottom of the pan coming into our dish here. So we're going to mix that around, get that to mix up with the onions and the mushrooms. Turn this up so it cooks nicely. And depending on how you want your steak cooked, you can cook this for a little bit longer if you wish. So this would be traditionally served maybe with something like fried potatoes, a little bit of side salad, or it can be served just on its own as well. So that's cooking away there nicely. Always important as a waiter, if you're cooking something for your guests to taste it. A little bit hard with a mask on, so excuse me there for a second. So just a small bit more pepper going in there. And that's pretty much our dish cooked and ready. So we're going to turn this off. I'm going to get this out of the way here. I'm going to bring my plate down. We bring our plate over here. So we can smell these beautiful sort of sweet onions and mushrooms coming through. And now we're going to pop the steak onto our plate here. You can see here, lovely piece of steak. And then you'd want to like onions and mushrooms because we're going to load it up with our onions and mushrooms. So presentation is important, but you know, we don't have any accompaniments coming with it here, but we have our sauce. So make sure we get our sauce on. If we dribble a little bit, we can clean the plate afterwards. That's no problem. And then finally, a little bit of a garnish here too. We're going to sprinkle a little bit of parsley over the top. And a little bit of a mess here. I'll just bring that over to the camera, I think. And there we have a delicious steak Diane. So you've got your steak, mushrooms, onions in there together. And really, really tasty. And again, lots of great flavors going on there as well. So thank you very much for spending a little bit of time with me. This is something we do demonstrate to our students in the restaurant. So I hope it's sort of given you a little bit of a taster of what you could expect if you were to study hotel management here in Shannon. I suppose it is a little bit different, a little bit exciting as well. So thank you very much, and look forward to maybe seeing you in a few years' time. So thank you, and Sarah, I think I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. That was brilliant, and I think you might have a few very hungry people looking for steak for breakfast now. Thank you so much. It was great to see that, and as Andrew mentioned, this is one of the very many skills that you would learn in restaurant service in Shannon College. So next we're going to go to something a little bit different. I would like to introduce you to Miss Kristen Horn. Kristen Horn is originally from the United States, but now a local in County Clare. She's a lecturer here in Shannon College in English and Intercultural Communications and Public Speaking. And Kristen is going to speak to you today a little bit about intercultural communications and exactly what that means. So I think I'm going to pass over to Kristen now. If Kristen is able to share her screen, she'll be ready to go and ready to talk to you. So over to you, Kristen.
Thank you, Sarah. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, there seems to be a problem with my screen sharing. Okay, so as Sarah mentioned there, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about intercultural communication. Unfortunately, I'm not going to set anything on fire today, although that's probably a good thing, my colleagues would say. Okay, so why do we learn about intercultural communication in Shannon? Well, there are many reasons why we learn about intercultural communication. And the first one is our students. So we have a diverse group of students. Most of them are Irish. However, we have, over the last 7 years, had 30 different countries represented in the college. So for us, it's a good way to learn how to communicate effectively with each other and to make sure that everyone understands each other and we can minimize any misunderstandings. It also helps us, as Kate had mentioned earlier, not only do we have alumni all over the world, but we have work placements all over the world. So in over 100 hotels across 16 countries. So it makes sense for our students to learn about how to communicate in different cultures, for they'll be working in many, many different cultures. So today we're going to talk about just a few of the concepts in intercultural communication. There are lots and lots of theories, but it's fun to kind of look at some of the things that we maybe think are the same, but are actually quite different. So first of all, if I ask you to look at this picture, and here you'll see two dogs. I think they're golden Labradors, a dog and a puppy. And I just want you to think for a couple of seconds. I'll be quiet for a couple of seconds and think about when you see this picture, how do you feel? So think about that for a second. And when you look at it, do you feel happy and joyful? Do dogs make you happy? That's one way of looking at it. Or alternately, when you see this, do you feel anxiety or stress? Maybe you've been bitten by a dog or not had a good experience with dogs. So this is the concept of connotation. And in connotation, we have different ways of viewing different things. They can be positive, they can be negative, and they can be neutral. For some people, the dogs will be a positive thing. And for other people, they will be a negative thing. And then once again, they can be neutral. Now, this can be a personal thing or this can be a cultural thing. So for example, if we talk about diamonds, in many cultures, diamonds are seen as a positive, as an engagement ring or something that we buy a gift for someone that we love. But in other cultures, diamonds may be things that are bad, that are gotten from different from mines and from difficult.
I think Kristen may have had a little bit of an issue with her connection there. We just see if Kristen can come back to us. So we seem to have lost Kristen momentarily. So hopefully we'll be able to get her back in the next few minutes. So I suppose what Kristen would have been talking about is intercultural communications is actually a module that is taught in Shannon College during the first year to a lot of students. Students would also learn it in other years of the program. But intercultural communications is a module that is so important in terms of being a student, being a person in society, and also just in terms of being a manager. So if you wanted to go on to be a manager within an international hotel company, then being able to communicate and having the skills necessary to communicate with individuals from different cultural backgrounds is vitally important. And that is something that Kristen and her team in the English department are really passionate about. So I might just ask, we might move on to the next segment, and maybe we'll be able to come back to Kristen at some point. But for our next section, we are going to introduce Miss Suzanne Kennedy. And Suzanne is from Kilkenny. Suzanne is a graduate of Shannon College of Hotel Management, like many of our presenters today. And she studied hotel management and went on to work in different hotels around the world. And she's now back in Shannon, and she works as a lecturer in accommodation services and business skills development. So today she's going to talk about accommodation services, which is one of the practical subjects that you would learn in Shannon College in year 1 of the program. So I will hand over to Suzanne and 2 of our students to tell you a little bit about accommodation services.
My name is Suzanne Kennedy. I'm a graduate of Shannon College, and I like the college so much when I was a student here, I decided to come back and become a lecturer. I'm here 6 years, and the topic I lecture on is accommodation and anything to do with cleaning, interior design. So today I have with me 2 students who are currently in 3rd year. On my left here I have Ryan Gorman, and on my right I have fellow Kilkenny person Joe Cashin.
Okay. I'm a 3rd year student at Shannon College of Hotel Management. I knew I always wanted to do a course where I could travel and work at the same time, so Shannon College was the best fit for me. When I came to Shannon College, I had no experience of working in the hotel industry, so I liked the small class sizes and the one-to-one interactions with the lecturers, so that really helped with my confidence of not knowing nothing to learning a lot. On my 2nd year placement, I was in Frankfurt in Germany. I spent 1 year, 7 months there on placements, which I really enjoyed. I worked in the F&B department, in reception and housekeeping. I learned a lot on my placement and also had great experiences travelling around Europe and visiting my friends.
Hi, I'm Joe, and I'm also a 3rd year student here in Shannon College. I got here by doing a PLC course in tourism and event management back home, and from there I was able to move over here. I chose this course because I knew I'd come out with 2 degrees and I knew it was a school of NUI Galway. I love Shannon College because we get to wear suits, we learn professionalism from day one, and we have really good training from our lecturers and professionals, as well as our Shannon family, as we call it, with all of our alumni, all of the past graduates, where we're in constant communication through LinkedIn and other social media networks. On my 2nd year placement, I got the opportunity to go to London and work in a beautiful 5-star hotel, where I spent my time working in a cocktail bar as a cocktail waiter, and as well as working in-room dining. My favorite part about placement was definitely all the celebrities I met. I met huge people like Adam Sandler, Sharon Osbourne, Lily Allen, Bruce Springsteen, so many more, and it was absolutely fantastic. So I highly recommend coming to Shannon to get your best education possible, to work in a very busy industry in the future and to travel the world.
So what is accommodation and why do we teach this in Shannon College? So the accommodation department is responsible for the cleanliness of the overall cleanliness of the hotel. So that starts from literally the moment you walk into the reception and right the way through the spa, the ballroom, and not least the bedrooms. So what do you learn? We have 6 hours theory a week and we have 12 hours practical. So the 12 hours we spend in the park inn where we are today. I teach you how to clean a toilet. Who knew there was a way to clean a toilet? There is. There's 20 steps to making a bed. We teach you how to deal with VIP guests, how to deal with children staying in bedrooms. We talk about safety and security, accident reporting, maintenance reporting, lost and found. We were able to do special things if we have special guests such as VIPs staying. And now we're going to go to the bedrooms and we're going to show you a room that's dirty and a room that has been cleaned by the students.
Room 126. I've been told by reception that the room is vacant, but we can never presume that. So we always knock on the door twice. Good morning, accommodation services. Good morning, accommodation services. We then enter the room. We only slightly open the door first. Good morning, accommodation services. This gives the guest time to come to the door. As we walk in, we always place the door wedge underneath the door. This is for safety reasons for when we're cleaning the rooms. So we come into the room. As you can see, this room has been slept in. I'm just going to show you the bathroom. As you come into the bathroom, as you can see, these are some dirty towels that the guests have used. So these all need to be removed. As you come out the bathroom, then you can see the bin has rubbish in. So this needs to be removed and replaced. As you come into the bedroom, you can now see the bed has been slept in. And the remote's been out of the package, and the tissue box has finger marks, and this all needs to be cleaned, and that's what we need to do. As you can see, this morning they must have had a tea or coffee, so that needs to be cleaned up. We have a fridge that we need to check in. So everything we do in the room, we need to work from high to low, and we need to look under and behind everything. We check all the drawers for like lost property, such as clothes, phones, chargers. That's a very common one to go missing. As the safe, we need to make sure the safe is empty. If anything is found, we must take it straight to reception or the lost and found property. We also then, before we start cleaning any bedroom, we must open the curtains. Close the windows for ventilation. We then pull out the beds. We make sure the pillows don't fall off the back so we can clean behind the beds. This bed, as you can see, was not slept in. But we can never presume that either, so we must pull this bed out to see if someone's left anything. And as you can see, it's clean. Once this is done, we strip the beds and we remove all the dirty linen before we start cleaning the room. Make sure not to take any dirty linen and place it on the floor, because at the moment the floor is dirty. Now we're going to take you to a room that has already been cleaned.
So here in room 123, there's a room that I've already serviced. You'll see here that there's a clean and safe on the handle here, just to let the guests know that the room has been cleaned. If you want to come in, I'll show you. So as you've seen already, the rooms were very dirty, but here, after me cleaning, the bathroom has been cleaned properly. The toilet, sink, all the amenities returned, towels folded without seeing any of the lines or tags. The floor has been cleaned, the bin's been polished and emptied, the drains have been cleaned also. You'll see around the room, all the chrome, all the glass, everything has been wiped down, polished, cleaned. Here the beds are neatly made. It's to look like you can drop a pin on it, has to be nice and tight. The lights are on, everything is working in the bedroom. The phone over here has a cord around it. It's not going to trip up anyone, it's not in anybody's way, and it looks neat and tidy. Here everything is wiped down, the pole of everything in the lamp. The chair is at a welcoming position to the guests coming in the door. The television remote is in a sealed, sanitized packet, and it's left in front of the television. You'll see the beds are neatly put back into position right beside the lights, and they're all facing the right way. Little attention to detail is vital, like there's no finger marks here on the chrome of the tissue box. There's no finger marks anywhere else here. And just here at the tea and coffee station, you'll really see the attention to detail just here. The spoons are facing the right direction. The milks are neatly put out into the shape of a flower. There's no fingerprints. The bin is emptied. All the lights are working. And that's a clean room. So now I'm going to show you some special things that you can do after cleaning a room to make the room more Instagrammable, as the word we use, or more child-friendly, a bit more fun, because it's not all boring cleaning and everything like that. So right now, I'm going to be attempting to make an elephant. So what we do is we just fold up here and we roll a nice tight roll to the center of the towel. For this, we're using 2 towels. We're using a hand towel and a bath towel. And we're going to see what it looks like in the end. So now that that's rolled, we fold it. We really press down to keep the shape. And we have that there on the bed. And next we get our little hand towel. Make sure that there's no tags showing, so we're going to be rolling it into the corners here as tightly as possible. And again here on the other side. This is something I would have done in my past experiences working in hotels, just helping out with housekeeping. Doing this just if there's a return guest that we might have really enjoyed or really did make an impact on us, we would do this just to give them a bit of a wow factor in the hotel when they come to stay. So as you can see there, that's the trunk. We have the elephant ears and we have its hind legs. And just here, by my assistant, we have a pair of glasses just to make it a bit funny. And that's how we do something special for VIPs.
As you've just seen, Joe did the towel up, he did the lovely elephant. I'm going to show you a few little things to do with toilet roll. I know it doesn't sound glamorous, but it does make a difference. So here we start, we're going to do like a little nice design that could just be placed on top of the toilet, like a spare toilet roll. So I've grabbed 3 pieces of toilet paper, and I'm going to lay them out in a star shape. And slip them aside then for after. And then I'm going to grab the toilet roll, pull out a sheet and a half, and fold down. Do it straight. So you get a lovely line like that. Simple now, just tuck it under. And you get a lovely line there. Like that. And then you're going to pop your 3 pieces of toilet paper in the top. Like that. But I'm going to show you the second one there now. This one's a lovely one that actually goes on the toilet roll holder. It has a lovely little triangle at the top. So we're just going to fold it like you're doing a paper aeroplane almost. It's a lovely little triangle there, and the other side folds in. There we go, try to get it as even as possible. I'm just going to crease that down on both sides and roll it back up. There we go, a lovely little triangle. Now we can pop both these in the bathroom when you're finished. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in Shannon sometime. This summer I'll be working in Dunmore House in Clonakilty, so if you're passing, pop in and say hi.
And if you see yourself in Kilkenny at any stage, I'll be working as a junior manager in the Pembroke Kilkenny Hotel, so don't be afraid to pop in and say hello.
So while these two are working in hotels, I'll be busy in Shannon getting ready for the next influx of students who will be arriving in September 2021. Thank you for watching.
One more thing, we're going to add in a little clip at the end here, just to show you that it's not all hard work, we actually do have some fun. Hope you enjoy.
Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami ilondoloze 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 zungangishilana ilondoloze 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 zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami Jerusalema ikhaya ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami
So I hope you enjoyed that. Just a little bit of fun there at the end, video that the students prepared in the last couple of weeks. So since we have a little bit of time before the break, I'm actually going to hand you back to Mr. Andrew Langford, and he's going to bring you on a little bit of a tour of our campus, and that will bring us up to the break where you can go and get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee before we're back after the break. So I'll hand you back over to Andrew.
Thanks a million, Sarah. So just for those of you here, we're here in our main campus. This is the main campus building here in Shannon. So this is where the majority of our classroom activity takes place. We're just going to go down through here. This is some of our smaller classrooms here that you can see into, much like maybe most of your classrooms in your schools. These are our our graduates. So we feature them all here on the wall. This is one of our tiered classrooms here, sponsored by Jury's Hotel Group. Then we're down here into some of our larger classrooms and our auditoriums, coming into our main auditorium here, the Forte. Not getting so much use this year, but hopefully we will be back in here next year with lots of people. So we're going to pop out here the exit, and we'll see. We're lucky we've actually got a nice day. So this is our second main building. It's slightly windy out here today as we come across. So this is our food and beverage building. This is where a lot of our practical classes take place. So you'll be in there in the kitchen after your break, and we've got the estuary here out over Shannon, so the River Shannon estuary. So again, as I said, catching it on a nice day. Sometimes you're running across here at a very fast pace to try and stop yourself getting soaked. But here we are coming into our food and beverage building. I think we should have some students in here. I hope we're not going to surprise them. And we've been offering some social distancing coffee. So we've our students who are paying or collecting coffee, ordering coffee here at the window, and collecting it here at our door and at our station in here. So here we have a few of our students in operation. So this is our training bar. We also operate a barista station in here. So we have one of our students working away and getting some coffee ready. So some customers looking to have a coffee. And we focus quite a lot on barista because the whole barista scene has become quite popular in the last number of years here in Ireland. This is our training restaurant. So I'm going to just bring you across here into our training restaurant. As I said earlier, it's about mise en place and preparation. So here you've got the students who've set up the restaurant already, or starting to set the restaurant, so polishing glassware and getting the whole place ready for our lunch service. So again, very much a socially distant lunch service here in the restaurant at the moment. Normally we'd have 60 students, but at the moment we are operating with about 12 or 60 guests, I should say, but we're operating with about 12 guests in the restaurant. So here's one of the coffees that got plated up earlier, or got done up earlier, and we've got one just coming through. So obviously all our students are wearing masks and keeping distance where possible. Obviously when they're serving food they have to get a little bit close, but then we step back immediately. But we will be back here after your break as well. We'll be moving into the kitchen, and you'll get an opportunity we'll be speaking to some of the culinary team and some of the students in there as they prepare to serve and get ready for our lunch service today. So a lovely coffee. I think I might enjoy that for my coffee break before I have to come back and be with you again afterwards with Chef Etna Costello. But
That's great. Thank you so much, Andrew.
No problem. Thank you, Sarah. We'll see you again later.
And now I think Andrew is going to go and enjoy that coffee for himself, and we all can take a little bit of a break. So we will see you back here in 15 minutes. So 11:15 we'll be back, and we will be giving you a tour of the kitchens when we're back after the break. So thank you so much, and we hope we will see you again in 15 minutes. Hello, so you're very welcome back to the Shannon College TUI Taster Day. Next, we are going to make our way over to the Shannon College kitchens. So these are kitchens that are based on our campus. And here we're going to introduce you to Chef Etna Costello. Chef Costello is from Dublin, but she's been working in Shannon for the past 16 years. Before that, she was working in restaurants in places like Switzerland, France, the US, and across Ireland. So plenty of experience behind her. So I'm going to pass you over to Etna, and she is going to tell you all about what we do in the kitchens in Shannon and introduce you to some of the students who are currently working in the kitchens there. So over to you, Etna.
Thanks, Sarah. So you're welcome to the production kitchen here in Shannon College. So today we have first years on site preparing lunch for our restaurant. So in the production kitchen here, I have 4 students, as you can see. So this kitchen is the kind of kitchen you will find in the industry. It reflects what the equipment and standard operating procedures that are carried out in the industry at the moment. So it's a very realistic training environment. So today we're preparing lunch for 20 odd covers, and we're preparing half of the menu in this part of the kitchen. So if you just want to have we'll have a little quick walk around. We've got a pastry section here where Jack is rolling out some sweet pastry for our raspberry tart today. Then over here, we have our starter section, and we're preparing barbecue pork ribs. And then we come along inside here, we have Ushi, who is working on a braised roast of bacon for our main course. So we might just have a little word with Dara. We want to come in here and have a look at what Dara's doing. So Dara, you might just tell us where you're from and then what you're preparing today.
My name is Dara, I'm from Sligo, and today I'm making the starter. It's going to be barbecue ribs, and I'm making my own dip as well. It's going to be a sour cream and chive dip. So right now I'm swelling the onions, a little bit of garlic in there as well, and then I'm going to add Worcestershire sauce, honey, and a little bit of snake sauce thing as well.
To make a nice sweet barbecue sauce. Okay, and then this is the area that we'll be serving our lunch from today. So again, you can see this equipment is standard for the industry. We have state-of-the-art ovens, lovely pastry ovens, fryers, wrap pans, and everything that you'll see when you go to work in a regular restaurant or hotel. We're going to come over here now and have a quick word with Blazina. So Blazina is our head chef today, so she's just going to tell you her role at the moment, what she's doing.
So my name is Blazina and I'm from Menes, and today I'm a head chef, and my duties are ensuring that everything is safe and clean in the kitchen, making sure that all the temperatures have been taken from the fridges, make sure that also the food temperatures have been taken, and I'm also making a yeast bread today. So this is just rice and egg, and then we are going to make a little roast from there and a bread as well. And I also have to make sure that everything is ready for the lunch for serving at 1 o'clock, and taking the food temperature and ensuring that we have all the cutlery and plates ready for the service and the utensils, and that everything around us is clean and safe.
Very good. So you can see here yeast bread. We've added some sun-dried tomato too. So we're going to go through the whole procedure of making bread rolls, proving the dough. And this is a really technical skill that the students would acquire. You only spend 5 weeks in the kitchen, so we really try and pack in as much skills as we can. So we make all our own fresh breads, stocks, soups and sauces. We don't use very many convenience products, but we would expose the students to 1 or 2. but pretty much everything we make in this kitchen is from scratch. And again, students get a chance to practice the skills, to make mistakes, because we all learn from the mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, it's all part of the learning process. The main thing is that all the food that we're preparing here is produced for a live restaurant. So it's very realistic. We have real customers, we have real deadlines. So the students are, we're simulating what it will be like when you go on placement and if you end up in a kitchen. So we're going to take a little stroll through now to the kitchen next door, where you can meet my colleague. So I'd like to come this way. So this is my colleague, our chef lecturer, Keith Carden, and he's just going to take you through the demo kitchen where we are now.
Yeah, how are we all? So as Chef Costa would explain to you, they're doing half of the menu next door, our other chefs. So our chefs that are in this kitchen here today are doing the other half. So they're all making 2 portions of soup, okay, to start with. So Sarah will just explain to you what she's working on here at the moment.
So good morning, my name is Sarah McNamara. I'm just making a mushroom and lemon soup here. So I'm lightly sweating off the vegetables. I'm going to add my bouquet garni, which is infusing the soup. And I'm also going to add in some stock as well, bit by bit. And I'm after adding it in there. And I'm going to try this.
Okay, so that's one of our starters today, our mushroom and fennel soup. Each student in this kitchen will make 2 portions of that soup today. They'll make 2 portions of our main course on the other side, so from this kitchen today, which is a vegetarian lasagna with homemade chips. Okay? Then Roland is working on that down here. Each student as well, before they come to class, has a time plan prepared. Okay, so they have a flow of work for the whole day, for the morning and the afternoon, right up until lunchtime, till service time when they're plating up. Okay, so Roland's working on the lasagna and he's working on the soup at the moment. With the lasagna, where are you at with that, Roland?
I've just dropped some of my vegetables and I'm just starting to get it all together. I have the time plan all ready to work through it and start the next time.
Okay.
Just get my stuff together.
Great. So, as I was saying, every student will prepare 2 portions of lasagna, and our dessert then today, everybody's going to prepare 2 portions of an eaten mess. So you might have seen that before. So it's a meringue-based dessert. If you see just in the oven here, I have some meringues baking at the moment. Okay. I'll just take them out so you can have a nice look at them. Okay, so these ones are for today's service. Okay, so they're not fully baked yet, not ready yet, but I have some prepared in advance, okay, just to show you one of our desserts, okay. So this is a vegan-friendly dessert, and it's a take on the eaten mess, all right. So we have some meringue, and there's some food coloring inside it, so some red food coloring. We have some vegan-friendly yogurt. In that, we'll just mix it through. We have a homemade berry compote. So there's nice sugar, there's lovely Madagascar vanilla inside it, and there's a lovely mix of fresh berries. And we'll just add some of the juice into that as well, so it'll all nicely combine together. Okay. Then we'll just mix that. They're served in these type of glasses. We call them bubble glasses for the restaurant, and then on a base plate. So we're just gently tossing our mix, okay, into our service glass. There's lovely colours and lovely flavours throughout the dessert and throughout the dish. And it's nice and light, perfect for a lunchtime dish. So can we finish then with a small bit more meringue? So the students today will prepare this dish and we'll plate it for service later on in the day. Okay, and then we'll have it served like that to the restaurant. And just a small bit of garnish. So we've got some nice toasted coconut. We've got some candied nuts, so some mixed nuts, and they're roasted in the oven with some honey. Or sorry, maple syrup today, because we want to keep it vegan friendly. And we have some mint. Give it a nice fresh finish. So that's one of the desserts the students will make today. Okay. So then we keep running through the kitchen here, Mr. Langford. You can see each student has their own station in this kitchen. So this kitchen is more like a home economics kitchen. It's designed like that, so each student has their own unit. As you can see, everyone has their, maybe come to Molly here actually. Everybody has their own oven, okay? Everybody has their own cupboard and their own pots and pans. Their own area, they've got 6 rings to cook on. Their own area for preparing their vegetables or preparing their dishes throughout the day. And they have to, in the morning, measure all their ingredients themselves, gather themselves, have everything organised. Students come in at 9:30, start preparing the vegetables about 10 o'clock, start working on their first dishes, and then they're working throughout the day. You get a 30-minute break then in the morning, and then come back. And the guys took their break between 10:30 and 11, and they're back working on the dishes now at the moment. Okay, and then in this kitchen we have, so it's styled exactly how a kitchen will be styled out in the industry. Okay, so we have our walk-in fridges, okay, with all our different items in it. Okay. Up here is a little different, where we have our classroom field, so we're able to mirror. I can be working on this station and mirror it up onto the TV, and also we have our whiteboard there, just like a classroom you guys will see. Okay. And just to run through here, Eric here is working away. So what are you working on, Eric, now?
I'm just waiting on my vegetables, and I just put my vegetables from the lasagna roast in the oven.
Okay, so you might just show me your vegetables for the lasagna. No, so this is for our vegetarian lasagna today. So we've got a nice mix of vegetables. So what have you in there?
We have courgette, aubergine, sweet potato, pepper, and that's it.
Lovely. So this filling will replace your traditional mince filling in your lasagna dish. Okay. Okay, so that's a wrap, I think, here in this kitchen. I'll let you go, Mr. Langford, next door again. Yeah. So we're going to go pop back into Chef Costello. Thank you very much.
They made some contributions. So you're welcome back into production. We're just showing the students here now how we're going to blind bake our pastry cases for our raspberry tart today. And we're just going to show you maybe the technique of how to make a bread roll. So we've weighed our bread, our yeast dough into 50-gram pieces. And then we're just going to shape it by rolling it the palm of our hand, and we get a nice smooth bread roll, and that goes onto our tray. Going to do maybe a knot is another shape we'll show you. Just a little twist and turn, just a regular knot. So these are all going to be baked in our lovely pastry oven. Okay, so and just lastly to show you examples of some of the lovely dishes that the students have prepared here. Different items of our menu. So we've barbecue chicken wings there with a lovely salad, a lemon tart, some pecan pie, and a pistachio cake. And these are just examples of some of the dishes that we have on our menu here in Shannon College. So we run the restaurant 4 days a week. We do lunch between 1 and 2 o'clock, and it's cooked by students, for students and staff. And it's a very good experience. So the students in the restaurant are practicing serving our food to the customers, to their fellow students. So it's a lovely learning environment. So that's it here from production. So we're going to hand you back over to Sarah. Hope to see you in Shannon soon.
Thank you so much, Chef Costello. So I think if you weren't hungry after seeing the steak Diane, and if you weren't looking for a coffee after the coffee demo, I'm sure you're certainly hungry now after seeing all those lovely dishes that are being prepared in our kitchens. So again, now we're going to go to something a little bit different again. So I'm now going to introduce you to Miss Lorraine Kavanagh. Miss Kavanagh is from Limerick. She is a lecturer in Shannon in English, Business Skills Development and Hospitality and Business Law. She's also the program leader for our MSc in Business and Hospitality. So lots going on for Miss Kavanagh. But today she is going to talk to you about developing creativity for business. And I think it's a skill that lots of you would really benefit from learning. It can be really helpful. So I'll pass you over to Miss Kavanagh.
Thank you, Sarah. So as Sarah mentioned, one of the modules which I teach at Shannon College is Business Skills Development. And I co-teach this with Suzanne Kennedy, who you saw this morning in the accommodation video. And Suzanne and I deliver this module to our Year 3 students after they come back from their placement. And we really enjoy delivering this module because it's fun, it's interactive, and we get to hear all about the experiences and knowledge that our students gained while they were away on placement. So within this module, we teach developing creativity in business. But before we look at this, I think it might be a nice idea just to give you a very quick overview of the module itself, just so you have a better understanding of what happens in the Year 3 program. So in our module, we start off by looking at networking and LinkedIn. We look at some sample LinkedIn profiles, and we go through the importance with students of having a very positive presence on the LinkedIn platform, because this is how you can attract potential employers. We also do some train the trainer sessions. At some point in your career, you may be asked to deliver a workshop or to train in new staff. So it's really important that you understand how people learn, process and retain information. We also look at giving and receiving feedback. So first of all, on an individual level, if you like to develop yourself both personally and professionally, it's really important that you are open to receiving not just positive feedback, but also negative feedback. And in class, we look then at how you handle when you're given negative feedback, what steps you can take. Also, in a professional capacity, if you're a manager, it's really important that you feed back to your staff how well they're performing. And we look at what you do in particular when you may have to have a difficult conversation with a staff member. We also cover interview skills, but we do this from both sides of the table. So we first start off in the interviewee's chair and what it's like to be sitting there, the types of questions you could be asked, how to answer them. And we also go through some techniques on how to control possible nervousness, shaky hands, shaky voices, all these things that can happen on the day of the interview. We then move across to the other side of the table and we look at the interview from the interviewer's perspective. And we look at what the interviewer themselves need to do in order to ensure that they select the best candidate on the day. We also look at common workplace issues like bullying in the workplace. And we have some guest lecturers who come in and speak to our students. So this year we had Paul Carty, the former CEO of Guinness Storehouse in Dublin. He came online and he spent an hour speaking to our students about career development and the importance of networking and also feedback. So he tied in really well with the key concepts that we teach in our module. Last year we had Bobby Kerr, the former CEO of Insomnia Coffee Chain, and he came and spoke to our students as well. So it's really nice to have some people come in from industry and share their experience with our students. So moving back onto creativity. When we mention creativity, people often assume that in order to be creative, you need to be artistically talented, musically inclined, or great at creative writing. But creativity encompasses so much more than that. It also encompasses skills like problem solving. And we're going to see a bit more of this as we go through the areas which require creativity. So first of all, in a business, you do need to come up with an idea. So someone does need to have that light bulb moment and come up with a brand new concept, a new product or a new service. You also need creativity when you look at marketing. You want to build a brand that people trust. You want to have a logo that attracts people, that's visually attractive, and you want to have a slogan that people remember. So again, this all ties back into creativity. We also need creativity in business when we want to enter a new market. So perhaps you want to sell a new product for the first time, or you want to extend your product or service into a market segment that you've never sold to before. So you need to find ways of attracting those new potential customers. We also need creativity when we want to be innovative. So this is taking something that already exists, but streamlining it or making it more up to date and more modern. We also need it when we look at cost reductions. Often businesses run into problems when they overspend, so they need to go back and look at areas where they can cut costs without affecting the integrity of the product or service that they're given. So again, creativity is required here. We also need it for negotiations. When you want to make a deal with someone, you generally have a plan in place before you enter the negotiations, but once you're in the meeting room, anything can happen. Any counter offer could be made, so you need to think fast on your feet and you need to come up with solutions and counter offers yourself. And we also need creativity when it comes to problem solving. It's very unusual for a business never to meet an obstacle, so you need to have creativity to look at a problem from different angles and come up with what you think is the best solution. Now, the only problem with creativity is that we can't really ask for it on demand. And we need to make sure that we are creative because it does help keep our businesses competitive. By being creative, you're aware of all the current trends and the future trends. It keeps you one step ahead of the competition. And like I said, it also helps you with your problem solving and overcoming challenges. But creativity is not something we can do instantly. A boss cannot come into an office in the morning and demand one of their employees to have a creative idea by lunchtime. Creativity just doesn't work like that. So the role of a business is to provide staff with creative work environments and allow them time to develop ideas properly. And one way of developing creativity in your workplace is in the workspace itself. And I suppose the best known employer for providing their staff with perhaps very quirky and fun workspaces is Google. So I've posted a photo here of the Google office in Dublin. And the first thing you notice about it is that it's quite colourful. And studies show that different colours stimulate different parts of the brain. And you'll also notice if you look at the space itself, there's lots of different types of seating arrangements. We have a man at the front kind of lounging across the couch. We have two men near him sitting on a beanbag. And at the back, we have people sitting at more traditional tables and chairs. And the idea of this kind of workspace is that it allows staff to move around the space in the way that they feel best helps develop their creativity. So often when we're on our own, we may get the little seed, a little idea in our heads, but we don't know what to do with it. By moving through the workspace, talking to other people, gathering information, it often feeds into the little idea we have, and that's how creativity stems and grows into something bigger. But, unfortunately, it's not always possible for employers to provide this kind of workspace for their employees. If we look at, for example, at hotels, I don't think guests would be very impressed to find the front office staff lounging across couches, trying to be creative. So what businesses like that can do instead is consider using creativity exercises. And creativity exercises have a lot of benefits for staff. First of all, of course, it improves everyone's thinking skills. Another bonus is that it develops better team dynamics. When you're working on creativity exercises, everybody's working together in a team, they're sharing ideas, they're talking to each other, people feel they're being heard, and this leads to better team spirit. Creativity exercises, again, they can help people find different ways to solve problems. So if the company is experiencing a problem, they use a creativity exercise to try and find a way around it. It helps develop new ideas, and as I said, it can be used for innovation, making old ways better. So on the next slide, I have an example of some creativity exercises that you can use. And the first one is brainstorming. So you might be more familiar with brainstorming in your English classes, and traditionally in education, brainstorming is where you're given a sheet of paper and you write down all your ideas. In business setting, it's slightly different and it's a lot more noisier. So what you do is you get a team into a room and you assign one person to stand at the board and you give them something that you want them to work on, some idea that needs to be developed. And you give the person at the board a pen, you set a timer, usually about 10 or 15 minutes. It doesn't tend to be a very long process. And in those 10 or 15 minutes, everybody in the room shouts out ideas that they have. And the person at the board writes everything down. So it's quite loud, quite noisy, but it can be quite fun. When the time is up, then everybody quietens down for a few minutes. They look at what's on the board and then they work together and they eliminate first the ideas that they don't think will work. And then they identify the ones that they think will. And that's where the ideas then come from. like I said, brainstorming in this case, it's quite exciting, but it's quite loud and noisy. And often you'll find in the team that perhaps not everybody is comfortable shouting out their answers. So you might want to consider this exercise instead, which is called brainwriting. So this is a much quieter exercise. So again, you get your team into the room. This time, everybody on the team is given a sheet of paper, and on the sheet of paper, there are several grids, and the grids are labeled idea 1, idea 2, idea 3, and so on. So everybody first fills in the grid for idea 1. They come up with their idea, you give them a set time, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. When the time is up, they pass their sheet on to the person next to them. The person then has 4 or 5 minutes to read that idea on the page. If they can think of other ways of developing that idea, then they continue filling in that grid. If they can't think of an idea, then they try and come up with a new idea and start filling in idea number 2. And this is the process. Everybody fills in what they can on the sheet and then they hand it on to the next person. When the time is over, the sheets are gathered up, and the ideas that people were able to extend are the ideas then that the team work on. So often with brainstorming and brainwriting, you can target a specific thing that you want to work on. But there's also some other exercises that you can do with your team just to get their creative juices flowing. And one way of doing this is building blocks. So you might remember when you were a kid how fun Lego was. Trust me, as an adult, it is incredibly fun still, especially when you add an element of competition to it. So what you do, you get your team again, but this time you divide them into sub-teams and you set them a challenge. It could be who can build the tallest tower structure with the least amount of support, who can build the most intricate building. And what you'll find is that people will come up with absolutely amazing ideas and that they'll work together. And the idea of these exercises is that it just relaxes people. Often when we come up with ideas, it's because we're not actually doing the thing related to the idea that we're working on. So it just provides that mental space for people to get their creative juices going. So I thought it might be nice to finish off the talk by showing some examples of creativity in hospitality. And the first one is this from the Emerson Hotel. It's quite a simple idea. At the Emerson Hotel, they noticed that when guests came, when they opened up the bars of soap, they never used the bars of soap fully. And so they were being dumped. And they found that this was quite wasteful. So they came up with a simple idea, put a recyclable paper bag in the room, and people then can take home their bars of soap if they wish. Now, this is a great example of creativity, but for a business, it's a great example of marketing, because there is a big drive in hospitality now for eco-friendly hotels. So this helps attract customers. But also on the accounting side of things, by removing the soap from your premises, reduce your own waste cost as well. So this simple idea actually has a lot of benefits for the hotel itself. Another simple idea which hotels can do is towel art. So this again is a very simple idea that the hotel simply uses materials which they already have, so towels, sheets, pillowcases, and they make intricate art designs on beds for guests. So again, this is something very simple, but while it's creative, it's visually creative. Again, for you as a business, it's a great way to get your business advertised, because when someone comes back to their room and they're presented with a bed like this, the first thing they do is take a picture and post it on Instagram or Snapchat, and they're more than likely going to tag your hotel. So you've taken something pretty much that's cost you nothing, and you're now advertising your business. And again, this is how creativity all comes together. The next example is of a warehouse in Germany that was turned into a hostel. So as you know, warehouses are big, large spaces. They can be quite cold. So how do you make this feel cozy? I think this is a great use of space. They painted a beach scene on the walls and on the ceiling, and then they filled the floor up with colourful caravans and a train carriage. So now you've got a really good use of space. And the last one I want to show you is a white noise machine. So this is an example of some technology that we have in hospitality. So Hilton provide white noise machines in their rooms. So if there's a lot of noise coming from the street or even from the hotel itself, you can turn up the white noise machine to ensure you have a much more restful stay in the hotel. But this isn't the only creativity we have in technology in hotels. Look simply at keys. Traditionally, when people used to first check into hotels, they were given a physical key. Then technology stepped in and people were given key cards. We're now moving on to the next level of where our phones are going to be turned into our key cards. So there's always creativity happening in hospitality. And an area in China, sorry, there's one, before I finish, there's one city in China which is testing out a robot hotel. So from the minute you check in to when you leave, you're pretty much served by robots. There is a small skeleton crew of humans, if I can say that, on the premises in case there's any emergencies or any glitches with the technology. But perhaps this could be the future for some hotels in the world, robotics. So I'd like to thank you very much for listening to me today. And I would like to hand you back to Sarah.
That's great. Thank you so much, Lorraine. So I'm just waiting for a bit of feedback there. Hello, so oh great, you should be able to hear me again now. So thank you very much for listening to Lorraine's talk on, I suppose, there's so much innovation there, and I've experienced the robotics in hotels a few times myself as well. So really interesting getting your fried egg made by a robot in the morning, and a robot coming with your bottle of water instead of someone from room service. So really interesting innovations always happening. So last but by no means least, we are going to hand you over to Kate Hoban. Kate is one of our third year students in Shannon College. Kate grew up about 10 minutes from Shannon, so she knows the local area very, very well. Kate, she decided that she was going to start a career in hospitality after her first part-time job, which was in Bunratty Folk Park. And that's where she developed her love for hospitality. And I suppose that's where she decided that Shannon College might be a good option for her. She's currently living in the south of France, and she's training to work in the yachting industry for the summer. So so busy, I suppose, balancing her books and her training for the summer. So hopefully she'll have a very exciting summer out at sea. So I'll pass you over to Kate, and she's going to talk to you all about student life in Shannon and what it's actually like to be a student here on the Shannon campus. So over to you, Kate. Okay, we just get you to unmute your mic, and then we'll be able to hear you.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, firstly, I just like to start off by saying thank you, and yeah, very jealous of seeing all the first years there. We had some great times and great laughs, all right. But today I'm here to talk about the clubs and societies that we have here in Shannon. Clubs and societies are how I made my friends when I came to Shannon. Living close to home, I lived at home when I was in first year. So this was my outlet, how I made friends, and it's brilliant. So basically clubs and societies, it's run by a lovely lady called April. Clubs and societies are run by the students, student-led. So generally, if you're interested in something or you have a hobby and pastime, you go to student services, and they'll help you run with the idea, get students involved, and you are leading the events yourself, which is very good for giving you some management and leadership experience. So I'm just going to go through some of the main clubs and societies that we have here in Shannon. So I'm going to start off with the choir. So I have a picture here in the middle of the group of choir. So we have all year groups are involved in clubs and societies. So choir is a great one for people who enjoy music. It was started off by Dr. Sheikh Rowan and a gentleman from the Ennis Gospel Choir. So it's taken very seriously. You don't need to have any musical background to be part of the choir, but it's fantastic. This picture here was actually taken at college graduation. So we've all year groups there. And when we were in first year, I remember the students wrote a song and they went to a recording studio and they recorded it, and it was called Home Away from Home. And basically we have students in the college that are from so many parts of the world that they just wanted to write a song about their experience, and they went to a recording studio, and it was fabulous. It was really nice. So if you look at the photos here, we have GA18. So that's ladies football, hurling, camogie, and football for the guys as well. So we compete against other universities and colleges here in the country. So that's something that's very popular. Down the bottom then you can see this gym. This is actually the Shannon Leisure Centre, and it's not even 3-minute drive from the college. And we run so many events in the leisure centre. So badminton, as you can see there, but they also have other things like basketball, tennis, all sorts of sports out there. There's a gym in the leisure centre as well. And the college actually have, it's brilliant. You can join up for the gym as a subsidised cost. The college will pay a good chunk of it. So you have your gym membership and you have the swimming pool as well. And there's buses that run from Shannon College to the leisure centre. In the evening times, that's free for the students from student accommodation to the leisure centre. You can partake in loads and loads of free events and activities such as Zumba, Muay Thai, HIIT classes, strength and conditioning. There's spinning out there, you can do yoga. And as I said, all these things are covered by the college. The student services pay for it. And yeah, it's a great way to make friends. And something I'll say about Shannon as well is it's not like secondary school where you hang out with people in your own year. It's very much encouraged to mix and mingle. So when I was in first year, I found that I was friends with, like most people, we're friends with a lot of people in the older years, and we all mix together, and it's so nice because you've older people to look up to. It's just really nice from a mentorship point of view as well. So I'm going to pop on to the next slide, and just to mention as well, for anyone who's interested in golf, we're about 1 kilometre away from the Shannon Golf Club. So there's definitely something for everyone here in Shannon. And if you have an interest in something, make sure to say it when you get here, and you could start up your own club or society. So my next slide here, charity committee and fundraising. Now, if you come to Shannon, there is one thing that is guaranteed: you will be part of, you will do some sort of charity, you will volunteer, and you'll absolutely love it. So we'll start with class. So when you're in first year, every single class does volunteering. So we have volunteer day, and if you see the red shirts in the top middle, that's my class, Beaujolais, when we were in first year, and we went to the Limerick Rape Crisis Centre and we gardened and we helped clean up the services for people, and we had such a nice day. And it's so important to give back, and it's something that we do all the time here in Shannon. So then we have a charity committee. Charity committee is usually led by third-year students. I am the secretary this year. So we have secretaries, treasurers, we have the chairperson, so it's run like a proper organisation, and it gives you great experience in leadership, so it's fantastic. So we have so many events. I don't even have time to tell you about them all, but one that I thought was fantastic was the picture in the middle. So we have another picture there, and it's some students that are now on final year placement. They had a sleep out in Limerick City, and they wanted to raise money for Elevate, which is a mental health charity. So they decided that they were going to have a sleep out in Shannon, in Limerick City, but it wasn't during the summer. They did it in one of the coldest nights of the year. It was that Thursday, busy Thursday before Christmas, and they felt there would be a lot of footfall from people shopping. So a group of students, they slept out with their sleeping bags and their flasks, and they raised a load of money. So it's brilliant. So in Shannon, it's really led by example. So we can see our lovely lecturers there kitted out. That was a run. It was a North Clare run to raise money for charity. So the lecturers came out with us, and we all ran the 5K. It was fantastic. Now, for some students here, you might know about a award called the John Paul II Award. We did it when we were in secondary school. When you come to college, you do something similar as well. It's called Alive. And Alive is basically when you're volunteering, you write down all your hours throughout the year and what you did. And at the end of the year, then we have an award ceremony, and you get an award from the president called the President's Award, and it's fantastic. And most students end up getting it because you do quite a bit of volunteering throughout the year, so it's great. And then we have on the right hand side some big fundraisers that we do throughout the year. So when I was in first year, we had a lip sync battle. It was so much fun. Students and lecturers teamed up together, and they did lip sync. So we have Miss Kennedy, the Accommodation Services Manager, here with Connor and Maeve, and they did ABBA, and it was so funny. It's great crack. And the same above then we had the year before. was Strictly Come Dancing. So it was a themed event again, and lecturers and students paired up, and yeah, it's fantastic. It's always great fun. We raise loads of money, and we have raffles, and you can bring your family along, and yeah, it's great. It's lovely. So next one that we're going to talk about is the competitions and social events. So in Shannon, definitely a bit of a competitive nature, which is brilliant. We all push each other on and bring each other up, and teamwork is a huge part of it. So going through some of the lovely photos here, we have the first photo is something that I just loved in first year. It's called Clash of the Classes. So when you come to Shannon, there's 5 different classes and they're named after different wine groups. And mine was Beaujolais. You have Alsace, Epernay, Chablis and Deslay. And they all compete against each other in this event at the end of the year called Clash of the Classes. So we all get dressed up in our jerseys, and we have like war paint on our faces, and we have different events and trials, and we compete it out. So there might be a kitchen trial, a housekeeping trial, which could be making something out of a towel, and so on. And at the end, we add up all the points, and there's the winning team. You can see that class is Miss Hegarty's class, Alsace. They seem to be the reigning champs. So yeah, year after year, she keeps taking home the trophy, so it's great. Rory, Mr. Langford mentioned that earlier. He was at the World Skills and did fantastically. We have the EM Cup, which is the European Mise en Place Cup. 2 years ago, it's hotel schools from all over Europe come together to compete, and it's a fantastic competition. I'm a part of it this year, and the networking and the people you meet, it's fantastic. But Shannon College always do very well in it, and that group won that year. There was a fantastic cash prize. They got to go to Maastricht to compete, and yeah, we were very proud of the homecoming when they came home. We have Anna Heavers, who is one young chef, and then some photos at the end. Just to mention social events. So we have a dress dance every year, which is a college ball. And at the end of the year, then we have a big graduation. So we love to get suited and booted and throw a party and go out with the lecturers and have a great time. So as Miss O'Connell said this morning, we work hard, but we definitely play hard and have a great time when it's all over. Now, culture and diversity. Here in Shannon, we have students from everywhere in the world. In my year alone, we have students from 13 different countries. So it's very important to celebrate all different cultures, and we've learned so much about things we never knew about, events, different holidays around the world. So just to go through a few we have here, we have Dr. Smith, the head of the college, lighting candles at Diwali, which is a celebration of the lights. So this is celebrated by Indian students. Every year they come together and they cook for the students, they dance, we all gather together and we celebrate, because just like Christmas to us would be Chinese New Year to the Chinese and Diwali to the Indian students. So we all come together and celebrate and make them feel at home, because when they're in Shannon College, this is their home for their 4 years. We have some lovely photos at the end of Chinese New Year and Holi, which is the Festival of the Lights, which is the second last photo. And if you look behind, you'll actually see the lovely student accommodation where you'll have the pleasure of living when you're in first year. It's so nice. So that's it. I'll go on to my next and final slide, which is wellbeing and student supports. Here at Shannon, to say that the lecturers are there for you and we're there for each other is so true. We call ourselves the Shannon family, and we really do, we are very close. We're close with our lecturers and we're close with each other. And it's something that's different from maybe other colleges, is how much fun we all have together. So when we were in first year, on our first day, we were given a mentor in third year. And that mentor looks after you while you're in first year. You can go to them with problems, you can go to them with if you need help with assignments, anything, they're there for you. And on our first night in Shannon, they brought us down to the local pub, which was Dirty Nelly's, and they bought us a drink, and it was just really nice to know that before you even make any friends in your year, you've one person that's older than you that you know that you can go to with things, and that makes such a difference, and you know you're safe, and it's lovely. And at the end of the year then, there's an award for the best mentor and mentee, and there's an event and there's prizes, and it's lovely, it's really nice. We also have a Shannon College app, which is like Facebook or Instagram. We have all the learning supports available on it, college information, lecturers' numbers. If you need to call your lecturer, I know there was times when we were on placement. I was in Brussels, and sometimes you just need, you might be stuck, you might be in a bad space, and it's nice to know that you can pick up the phone and ring your lecturers and just say, yeah, I'm having a tough time, and they're there, always there to talk to you, so that's so important. We have some students and lecturers at a lovely yoga event. Now, for anyone who's on Instagram, if you want to look up the student space, it's set up by one of my classmates, Dern and Holly, and it's Katie McDermott. It's fantastic. It's just somewhere nice for students. You don't even have to be in Shannon. You can, we talk about mental health and well-being, and we have, yeah, it's just some mindfulness sessions, and you learn a little bit more about the college. And if you want to see about the students, definitely check that out. You might enjoy it. So in the middle, we just have some posters that students made. Together we are stronger, and that is it. Here in Shannon, we come together, and you're definitely not alone. And yeah, we're an all-inclusive campus. We celebrate diversity from all angles, from LGBTQ. You can see the lecturers flying the Pride flag very proudly there. And yeah, that's really it. So I'd like to thank everyone for listening today. I hope you got a lot out of it. And if you want to speak to any students with any questions, you can just contact Miss O'Mahony afterwards, and she'll put you in touch with some students. So thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Kate. Fabulous to get to hear the student's voice and a bit of an insight into what it's like to be a student in Shannon College. So that is it from us today in Shannon, and we'd like to thank you so much for joining us today and hearing all about our college. If you are interested in learning more about the college, we have some open events coming up throughout the rest of the year and next year. And if you ever want to ask any more questions about the college, please do feel free to get in touch at any time. We'd be more than happy to speak to you. And as Kate mentioned, we've plenty of eager students who would be more than happy to tell you about their experiences as well. It was a pleasure to speak to you today. Thank you so much to all my colleagues for all their excellent contributions. And I hope you have a lovely weekend. Thank you very much.